bulk of this episode. I just want to thank everybody for the overwhelming support and engagement into episode 1. Reflecting upon working upon this show over the course of the last couple of months, I was a little bit apprehensive as to whether or not people would actually want to watch this show. It's a little bit different compared to your standard horses to follow or your bog standard sort of podcast you tend to see on social media as well. It's something a little bit out of the norm and outside of the box too, but the overwhelming engagement and support to the first one was absolutely fantastic, so thank you very much for that. And I look forward to bringing this to you guys over the course of the upcoming summer months. The actual championship itself doesn't start until early May, but I'll be building up to it throughout April, getting stuck into it when it comes around, building up the content even more, and hopefully ending on a high at Champions Day in October at Ascot. Now, reflecting upon the last 7 days in the Apprentice world, it's been a very good last 7 days really. Billy Loughnane had treble last week at Lingfield on last Saturday, aboard Sausalito, and a pair of those wins in that treble for his dad Mark aboard Triggered and also El Hombre. But yesterday Billy was seen again to good effect aboard Doddy's Impact, the 6,000 guineas purchase, running down the strong favourite Valdiro, who cost over 200,000 guineas for Dominic French Davis and Ammo Racing to win the Brocklesby. And Billy was fantastic in this race, settled his horse quite nicely. But what I liked the most about this ride was he put his stick down towards the end inside that last half furlong, really pushed his horse and carried his horse over the line. It was a very strong ride and a very polished ride from a young jockey now who's ridden over 40 winners now. And that's a remarkable achievement in itself. To have had over 40 winners in just over 4 months of riding is absolutely incredible. And he's going to be crowned all-weather champion apprentice jockey at Newcastle on Good Friday. And I'm not too sure if any jockeys achieved the big double before, winning the Apprentice Jockeys Championship on the all-weather before going on to win the turf version. I don't think anybody's achieved that, and I might have to research that and talk about that next week, but I don't think anyone's achieved that. But Billy at the moment is riding on the crest of a wave at the top of his game at the moment, and I expect him to really be pushing the likes of Benoit and Harry to win that Apprentice Championship this season. He's had a remarkable start to his career. Hopefully he can keep it up. The only thing I'd worry about is his size. We've got to enjoy him while we can because he's riding absolutely fantastic at the moment. A lot of people are already getting behind him, and rightfully so as well. And yesterday itself just highlighted the talent Billy's got. It was a fantastic win on a very nice 2-year-old who hopefully now can achieve some more decent pots along the way over the course of the summer. For a small trainer, in Robin Brisland as well, and a very enthusiastic syndicate in cross-channel racing. Now, moving into race 2, the Spring Mile went the way of Harswell Duke. The well-backed Harswell Duke in the end. He attracted some late market support before the off and won very nicely in the end. A very good, confident, aggressive front-running ride by Johnny Pete in conditions which are very hard going yesterday. Not much was coming from off the pace at all yesterday, especially in those sprints and straight mile races at Doncaster. But we'll talk about a certain jockey who won the big race yesterday a little bit later on. But Johnny himself had some sad news recently. I think his granny passed away, so the post-race interview was quite emotional for him. And I hope this ITV winner for Johnny can just help him kick on now in a good 2022, a good start to this year as well, picking up some nice rides for Gay Kellaway and Nick Bradley as well and his syndicates. But this horse, Harswell Duke, looks to be the horse who can hopefully help him kick on this season. And as I say to every apprentice jockey I interview, it's always a case of just finding that one good horse who can put you on that big stage, who can showcase and advertise your talents to the owners and people who are watching at home. And I think Harswell Duke can be that horse for Johnny now. He's had a good start, as I said before. Deals with his weight quite nicely. He's in a similar bracket to Billy. They're both quite tall lads for flat jockeys, but they both manage and deal with their weights quite responsibly and very well as well. And I hope now Johnny can kick on into this large bulk of this season with this win on ITV as a springboard, and hopefully now kick on and use that to his advantage. Now, the ride of the day for me came yesterday in the Lincoln, with Benoit de la Sayette winning his second Lincoln in 3 years aboard Migration. We spoke about horses not being able to come off the pace recently at Doncaster due to the heavy conditions yesterday, but Benoit gave Migration a cracking ride yesterday, a really good, clever, patient waiting ride, weaving his way through the field, nipping up the rail to swoop late and get up right on top of the line. It was great for Migration too. I think if you go back and watch his run on Champions Day in the Balmoral, you would probably have thought that a big pot would be well within his reach, and it was always going to be a case of when, instead of if really. And Benoit himself, who's got a fantastic record in this race now, 2 wins from 2 rides. We often think back to 2021 when he burst upon the scene aboard Takiki. We were all mesmerised by that ride. And he came back from his ban last year to good effect, winning the title last season. He's going to try and go back-to-back this year, emulate Kieran Fallon Jr. by going back-to-back for him, at least anyway. It's a very realistic aim. He had a good win on Friday at Lingfield aboard 8 Mile for George Scott to warm up for the Lincoln. And he'll be probably going home last night thinking the Lincoln's his lucky race really now. It's 2 wins from 2 rides and a fantastic ride for Migration. And also very good for David Manouzier as well. He's had some wretched luck with some of his superstars, the ill-fated Wonderful Tonight and of course losing his very smart horse Lionel to John Gosden earlier on this last season as well. Through the last chunk of last season, his horse got moved yards as well, so it's great for David to come back onto the big stage with a nice smart win, and I hope Migration now can build upon that Lincoln win and pick up a nice prize somewhere else later on down the line. Now, another young jockey who's come back from his international travels and hit the ground running is Connor Plannis. A double last week at Lingfield aboard Made in Kentucky, and a late thrust from Conquistador to get up right on top of the line as well. The £7 claim went last week as well. Going into the winter stint, Connor had one winner left on his £7 claim domestically before coming back last week to ride that out. And he won both round 1 and round 2 of the Go Racing in Yorkshire Future Star Series. Both for Lucinda Russell aboard Don't Look Back, who was a very easy winner in the end. It was a great ride by Connor as well. He sat just off the pace, tucked in on the inside, turning for home. It was both him and Mrs. Meader who both looked the likeliest of winners. But once Connor shook the reins upon this grey, he picked up quite comfortably and won very, very easily in the end as well. And also the second leg of that big double yesterday came on A1 Alley, a lot more tighter compared to the first leg. Won a thriller in the end, sorry, I should say. A three-way go, bob of the heads, but A1 Alley's head went down at the right time to win. Connor's now recently moved into the George Bowie yard from Tom Clovers, and Connor had some good success last year for George Bowie as well. A very good winner last year at Kempton, a couple of winners around the tracks too, before riding out a couple of chances in Dubai for him aboard Hit Mac as well. And I expect Connor to have a very good 2023, and he could be one of those jockeys who can kick on this year and really close that gap between the sort of top 3 jockeys in the Apprentice Jockeys Championship anyway. Now we're going to move on to another young jockey who's done very well so far in 2023. It's Rose Dawes, who gave a very nice ride to Flash Bardo up at Lingfield on Monday, denying the late thrust from Benoit aboard Ermineside. And I think if Benoit could, he'd want to ride that race again because he just missed. And I think had he got going a lot earlier, he probably would have won. But fair play to Rose. She kept it nice and simple up on the front end for her boss, Jack Shannon. And Rose herself had a very good year last year, a very productive end to 2022. Some nice winners up at York, a very interesting winner at Nottingham as well. If you can ever go back and watch that ride, it was a crazy ride. She went off in front and never got caught, which is quite remarkable really. But she's a fantastic young jockey, speaks very well. She's part of that very good team with Ross Burkitt, who's got some very nice young jockeys. George Bass as well, who went close in the Lincoln yesterday aboard Majestic. And I think Ross himself just taken on young Sharik Mode, who I think's with Darryl Holland at Harrison Court. So he's a nice, a young £7 claimer from India. So it'd be interesting to see how he gets on under Ross's tutelage. But Rose herself had a very good start to the year as well, picked up some nice outside rides. I expect her to kick on and hopefully have a good 2023. She went very close in that second race of the Apprentice Series aboard Das Capital, soft ground specialist for John Berry yesterday. Went down in third in that three-way head bobber. But she's a very nice rider, as I said before. Very strong rider too, and I expect her to kick on this year and do very well. Another young jockey who caught my eye actually a couple of weeks ago. He's a jockey I've been watching recently, and especially towards the back end of last year, is Mikkel Mortensen. He's come over from Denmark, based with Charlie Fellows now. Had his first winner aboard Madrara at Chelmsford a couple of weeks ago, and I was very impressed with how he spoke. And I always see on social media with Mikkel, he's always working hard in his fitness. He's in the gym every single day. And what I liked about him the other day was he had a ride at Lingfield, I think, on Thursday. And then later on that night, he was up on the Heath jogging, which is absolutely fantastic, really. It shows his dedication to the cause. He's a very tidy young jockey who I think will only improve even further. Charlie himself's great at giving young jockeys opportunities. We think of Khadija Miller and the Magnolia Cup. We think of some of the other Ebony Horse Club graduates who've gone into Charlie Fellows' yard now, and they're actually working there full time, which is absolutely remarkable for the game as well. But I expect Mikkel to kick on this year. He's only had a handful of rides, one winner so far, but he's definitely a young jockey in Newmarket just to keep an eye on so far this season. I think he'll pop up a couple more times with a nice winner or two. He rode last night at Chelmsford again, but he's definitely one to keep an eye on. Speaks very well and has a very bright future in this game. Another young jockey to talk about is Maddie Patz, with her first winner towards the middle of March last month aboard Cara Christie at Wolverhampton, to come late and get up on the line at Wolverhampton in an apprentice race. She comes from a hunting background, but Phil's been very good to her, give her plenty of chances so far. She's another one to watch out for over the course of the coming months. Now, kicking into the rest of the show, Archie Young, again, we'll talk about 3 jockeys in the north to follow. Archie Young is very much another one to follow. He's graduated through the pony racing ranks and was the first jockey, or the first Scottish-based jockey, to go over to the Dingle pony racing sphere and ride a winner. And we think about the Dingle pony racing sphere, how competitive that is and how strong it is over there. The amount of good young riders who've come through and ridden winners over in Dingle is remarkable. And for Archie to go over there now and ride the winner over there was fantastic for him. He's based with Charlie and Mark Johnson, only had a handful of rides so far to his name, but he's very tidy, very strong, and I think he could go on to have a very good career. The first winner shouldn't be too far away, I don't think now, but he's definitely a young jockey to watch. Claiming the £7, Archie Young, definitely one to watch. A first winner yesterday on Thursday at Wolverhampton came the way for young George Edery. We think of the name Edery in racing, it comes with a lot of weight, of course, through Pat Edery, but George picked up a 4-day ban for this win. His ride centre cage just drifted leftwards into the inside rail and just unfortunately checked Saffy Osborne aboard Winkle Levy. Picked up 4 days for that, but he did lose his grip on the reins, but the horse went away at the line, which is probably why the result didn't change really. And looking upon the head-on weren't great, of course, but the result didn't, the placings didn't change because see the gauge was on top towards the end of the race really. But George himself, he's based with, I think, with Robert Edery, sorry. He had a couple of rides for John Butler as well, outside rides for John, and he's definitely a young jockey to keep an eye on as well. And we also welcome back Will Pyle recently as well. Will broke his back over the course of the winter, which is unfortunate for him, but he's been working very hard over those winter months to build back up his strength, his race fitness. He was just touched off 2 weeks ago in the race at Wolverhampton. He gave the horse a fantastic front-running ride and just got pipped by Shee Murphy, which is no shame at all, getting pipped by a former 3-time champion. But Will was very nice and tidy, based with Craig Lister, and he, again, is very much one to watch out for. Hopefully now his injury problems are behind him, and he can have a nice injury-free run over the course of the upcoming summer months, get some winners and build up his confidence. And also we're going to round this off with Harry Davis, coming back yesterday, winning the Kentucky Derby trial at Chelmsford for the Bold Act. Harry's been going about his business quite quietly recently over the last sort of couple of months, coming back from his very productive spell in Bahrain. I think it's now 3 winners from 3 rides at Chelmsford for Godolphin so far, and Bold Act himself was given a very good patient ride up the inside rail. They all sort of fanned out last night in that Kentucky Derby trial, and Harry managed to find a lovely gap up the inside. Very strong drive as well to get his horse up near the line. And Harry himself recently lost his father as well, which is very sad news for him, but I expect him to kick on this year. He's a fantastic young jockey, speaks incredibly well. And I think we've already forgotten about Harry, really. We're all sort of very much in Billy Loughnane fever, whereas Harry's just come back and gone about his business quite quietly, picked up where he left off, but he's done ever so well recently, and I expect him to kick on this year. Look, if he wins the title, it'll be fantastic for him as well. I really hope he does achieve that anyway, because he works incredibly hard, gave the horse a fantastic ride last night, and looks to be building upon that with a very good productive start to his season as well. So that was the Apprentice Angle episode 2, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back next week to talk about everything going on this week, but thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.